I'm really looking out for what the Edmonton Oilers will show us. Good evening, my people. This is Taiwo Nojobi once again on Known as Maple Sports. I'm your host, commentator, analyst, and unapologetic fan of the game. I'm always happy to bring you some quality, takes within, the hockey world, the NBA, and CBL. Sometimes we try to just carve out some space for some baseball, which we've done a couple of days ago. But today we'll just be dealing with some of the matches that have happened within the world of hockey. Just like I've said in previous videos, hockey, is a fast-paced game, and because of the Olympics that are coming up quite soon, they want to, try their best to see how they can do a couple of games so that they will go on the Olympics break in January and later come back in the season immediately after the Winter Olympics. However, this is 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I like to say today is a good day. Take a chance once more, be brave and make a difference. Couple of good games that have happened during the week, and I like to also talk about my team, which is the Edmonton Oilers. There was a trade that kind of shook the entire hockey world. I've talked about it in previous session about how Skinner, who is the goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers, how he has been struggling. And the Edmonton team they're still trying to see how they can get back to the final. They still want to continue to play at a very high level. But with the performance of Skinner, who is their goaltender, they are not really getting that kind of spot that they would have, wanted to be able to even give themselves a chance to get to the final. This time around, even if they get to the final and they probably don't face a Florida team, it will be better for them because the Florida team too is still playing at a very high level. Even though at the beginning of the season, some of their key players had injuries, but they are still playing at a very high level. Some of the key notes before I go into deep analysis that I just saw within the week under review, and I wanted to point out is Macklin Celebrini had a wonderful performance in the San Jose Sharks versus the Calgary Flames. He had a wonderful performance and he's a breakout guy because, I've been looking at how he has been playing, and this season he has been able to show everybody that, is going to be very outstanding, and a lot of people are watching out for him, trying to see, oh, this guy will soon break out the way he's playing. So I just said I should put that out there so that people watch out for him. His impact was very, very good. He had 2 early goals, and he took over the third period in this game. And this is his 17th season. 17th goal of the season rather. So looking at it, very, very well. He's scoring so many goals for someone that they didn't really expect so much from him this season. So he's a breakout guy from his performance, and I'm watching out for him. If you look at the supporting cast for San Jose Sharks versus Flames, we had Barclay Goodrow scoring twice as well, also helping the entire team. The goaltender also had a very good outing. He had 27 saves, and that was very, very steady for the San Jose team, after a back-to-back overtime win on the road. So for me, I see the San Jose team, trying to make some noise across board. And one thing I also notice about most of these teams, they are trying to rack up some wins, trying to make sure that they get to at least between 20 and 22 wins before the Christmas break. Any team that has, because right now they are doing about 34 games, about 34 to about 36 games so far, which means they are approaching the middle of the entire NHL season. So every team that already has above 20 wins and between 14 and 15 losses is still doing pretty well. It's still above 500, and they're still doing pretty well in the league. So I'm really looking out for what the Edmonton Oilers will show us. They did so well against the Penguins, which was more of a switch because Skinner was traded from the Edmonton Oilers to the Penguins team, the Pittsburgh Penguins team in the US, and they played against each other just a few days ago, and the match was high level. And I will also talk about some deep analysis into how the match went as well. But I'll be starting with the Boston Bruins and the Utah Mammoths. The good thing about the Utah Mammoth team is they've won 16 and they've lost 19. 16 wins at this time of the season is still good enough. It means that you are still a team that can still make some noise. Because this is the same league where we still have teams that are struggling with 11, 9 wins at this time of the season. But they have 16 wins and 19 losses. Even though they are below 500, but they can still, they are still a pretty good team. But the Boston Braves are a bit different. They already have 20 wins, 14 losses. Very, very good team, well put together. I like the way that they are playing and they are creating some kind of momentum. And they won this match just to show us that leadership quality that they bring when it comes to this season in the NHL. In this match, the Utah team struck first, but Boston controlled the rest of the game. It didn't look like the Utah team, after scoring first, to be able to go ahead and, just make some noise. This team went ahead, they silenced and they replied the goal from Utah, and they went ahead and controlled the rest of the game. I tried to just do some deep analysis to look at the scoring flow, and I like what I was seeing. Barrett Hayton scored a power play goal. That was the very early one where he gave Mammoth the early lead. But the Boston team just came back. Morgan Geekie is still playing at a very high level. I like what I'm seeing from him. In fact, it's a major highlight for them this season. He's playing very well. He answered quickly with a 1-1 tying the game in the first period. And what they wanted to do was make sure that the first period did not end with them, trying to call back and, come back and get the win. In the second period, Geekie again, he got some assists from Pastrnak and Zadorov. They shifted that momentum for him. It was one of the fastest plays I've seen from those two guys in a very long time. They gave Geekie a very good ball, and Geekie went in and converted for Boston as well. Going into the third period, they struggled a bit because I felt that the team relaxed a bit. The Boston team relaxed a bit. And Casey just came with an extended lead, just to, help Michael to seal things away with an unassisted goal. And if you look at the way they were playing, they played like they were very, very disciplined. If you look at, the way they approached the game, they were very, very disciplined. So I like what I'm seeing from Boston. Their power play and secondary scoring also helped them, and it overwhelmed the Utah Mammoth. And, the Utah Mammoth too is not a team they're not a scrub team. They're also good. For you to have had 16 wins in Hockey League for this season, where every team is making a lot of noise, is a very, very good season as well. But the Boston team was just more clinical. They wanted it more and they were a bit more aggressive. Barrett Hayton scored the lone goal as well on the power play, but struggled in the face-off with about 28.6%. Nick Schmalz was strong in the dot area. He did about 64.3% on FOs, and that's really, really good. But he couldn't generate as much offense as I thought he would have. I was expecting to see something above 74% in his performance. I kind of saw an excellent face of both key players, looking at Kevin Stenlund, also putting in a wonderful performance. He showed value in his possession, and I also believe that in other matches, he will have the opportunity to consolidate. Even though this one, he kind of, there was a lot of value in his possession, but he didn't make good use of it clinically to give us what we wanted, a bit more. But at least he tried his best. Vitek Vanecek had 19 saves on 23 shots and was able to do a 0.826 SV. That's not good enough. He struggled against the pressure coming from Boston, but he tried his best. You can't blame the man too much. Morgan Geekie did so well, and Geekie has been the highlight of this team. He has been playing so well. He had two goals, including a power play goal in this match, and he kind of set the tone offensively for everybody. David Pastrnak as well was outstanding. He had 2 assists. And I like the way he was driving, based on his playmaking ability. He's one of the key playmakers for the Boston team. The way he was driving was also very good. And he helped the team to keep that momentum going. Casey and Michael, they were good guys. They kept that depth for the team. And they have always been good scorers too. Secondary scorers within the team. And they iced the game for them. And a good performance coming from the goaltender as well, Swayman. I like what I saw. He had 20 saves on 21 shots, and that's a 0.952 SV percentage. And he was able to shut down the Utah team after their first goal. After conceding the first goal, they didn't even look like they were discouraged. They kept fighting, and they came back, to win the match in a magnificent way. Looking at my tactical analysis, a couple of things I believe would need to change. Uta started strong, but they couldn't sustain it going forward. And I believe they need to be a bit more consistent, show that you have more grit and power to be able to continue that performance, even though they had the first goal. And if you look at the face-off between Schmalz and Sterlund, it's kind of did not translate into the kind of scoring that I anticipated when I was looking at the power ratings for this team. And some defensive lapses also happened, and it led to what I consider a -2 rating for the team. So multiple forwards were making too many mistakes. So Boston capitalized on that ability and took control of the gaps, especially going into the zone. Going into the zone, they were able to take advantage of it. Okay, I think that's a good one on Boston and Bruins. We'll probably just look at some of the other games. The Toronto Maple Leafs, that's a team that went through a tough one. Their coach, came out and, publicly and criticized those players, especially when they had a poor performance against the Edmonton Oilers. They had just played the Edmonton Oilers 2 days before, and the coach was not happy about their performance because the Edmonton Oilers completely dominated them, and they came out to play against the Chicago Blackhawks, and they responded the right way. They showed the coach that we also know a little about hockey, and we can make it count. So far the Chicago team has won 13 and they've lost 20. I'm looking at the Toronto team this season. Even though they are still below 500, they've won 15 and they've lost 17. But at home they've had 10 and 5. So basically they've had 10, 5 in regular time, 5 in overtime or penalties. So they've had a balanced 0.5, which is over 500 at home. It's a way that they've struggled a bit. They've lost more games away than they've won. And if you look at the narrative, Chicago really wanted to show a statement in this game. So they came out early, trying to see how they could force themselves early, and they got early goals. 2 first period goals came in to reward their effort because they started with the early pressure. But Toronto, they just turned back with 3 unanswered goals, and that was how the match ended. Their coach was very happy because they needed to respond after a bad performance against the Edmonton Oilers, and they just came to Chicago and they made it happen. Looking at the scoring flow, look deeply into my analysis, Wyatt Kesa opened the scoring and was assisted by Tony Nato. That was one of the good goals that you get to see all the time from this Chicago team. J.C. Dixon also added a short-hand goal, all within the first period, because they wanted a fast-paced dominance. But I just saw the Toronto team very relaxed, even though they went into the second period and there were no goals. But you will see that Toronto was beginning to climb back. The coach must have shouted on them seriously during the break before they went into the second period. But after the second period, they were still behind, and there was a pressure third period. And the Toronto team needed to come up and really show some grit that, they can respond the right way. So we had Ekman Larsson, who cut the deficit immediately in the third period, and he was able to get a good assist from Matthews and Nylander. Now, what now happened was that the team now started firing pressure, putting a lot of pressure on the goaltender, and Matthews now came in, with a power play goal again, with an assist again from Nylander as well. So it now made it 2-2. Now, when it was just 2-2, there were a lot of struggling. They were trying to see how the game would go, and we did not even know that the last goal would come 8 seconds to the end of the match. So 8 seconds after the second goal was scored, and a guy called Dakota Joshua, he just came and scored the game winner with 8 seconds later. It was assisted by Stecher, and that was a very, very good goal. I like the way they were able to come together in that zone movement, and they were able to help each other. Toronto's key guys in this match were Matthews and Nylander, and Joshua was more of the depth guy. He delivered in crunch time, and that was what helped them go away. This win was very important because it led to them having 16 wins, which is helping them to tie the number of wins that the Edmonton Oilers have had. So the number of wins also determines how they are going to be able to qualify for the playoffs, and how the positioning will be, which team they will face. So every team or every exposure that they have, especially as it relates to gathering points, helps their positioning on each of the Pacific, either the West or the Eastern conferences. It helps them a lot. So 15 wins before coming into this match, now they now have 16. So it means that they are well positioned for challenging towards the end of the season. For Chicago Blackhawks, they tried their best. Jason Dickinson tried his best, even though he came up with a short-handed goal. He had this strong, what I call defensive awareness in that match. He helped them a lot, but it was only 40.9% on face-offs. And Kaiser also scored the opener, but finished with a -1 rating. Because after they finished those 2 goals, it just looked like they relaxed in the first period. They didn't score any goal in second and third period. So Mikheyev with the assist as well. It was a short-hand goal as well, and it was an active forecheck, so it helped the team as well. So on the Toronto Maple Leafs side, we had Matthews doing so well. He had a plus on the assists as well, and he also had a clutch play in crunch time, and that's what really elevated the team. William Nylander also helped with 2 assists, and those 2 assists came at the right time. You understand? Joshua too with the game winner. Dakota Joshua, very, very outstanding performance. A lot of us forget about the goaltender. The goaltender was very outstanding, even though he had a disastrous first period because he conceded 2 goals. Second and third period, he was very solid. He had 23 saves out of 25. Obviously, the 2 saves he didn't make ended up being goals, and he had a 0.920 SV percentage. I saw a very steady and composed goaltender in Joseph Woll doing so well, and I just wish him the best as they continue to push to see how they can qualify in the right position for the postseason. Okay, so the big picture for me is Chicago needs to continue to protect their lead better. They've not been able to do that so much this season. There's some optimism that they will still be able to push a bit more. It's still a good team, not a scrub team. For you to have scored 2 goals against a very, very, very good team like this, like Toronto Maple Leafs, it means that you also know a little bit about what you're doing. So what I just feel that they wasted their passion and they were a bit passive. They started very early, but they just went in, and their defensive lapses also worked against them. And hopefully they're able to get it together and start getting the wins. The Philadelphia Flyers, I've not spoken about them in a while, versus the Montreal Canadiens. The Montreal Canadiens have reduced in their... Early in the season, they were getting wins. There was a time they went on a run, they were beating everybody. But right now, they've relaxed a bit because I didn't expect the Philadelphia Flyers to beat them the way they did. I know that they both had 17 wins going into this match. But looking at it generally, Philadelphia Flyers didn't look like a team that could match Montreal Canadiens, especially the way they started early in the season. Even though the Montreal team struck first, but the Philadelphia responded immediately and then controlled the game all through with balanced scoring, strong special team. Everything was just going on well for them. They also had some good goaltending that happened for them, and that was why the Philadelphia Flyers were able to fly, in this match. And looking at my scoring flow and analysis, in the first period, I liked what Alexander Texier did. He opened scoring very late in the period because one thing about hockey is if a team is able to score very close to the end of the first period, you go into your break coming into the second period because you are chasing the team. The team already has 1 goal. So what happens is scoring at the end of the first period sometimes demoralizes your other team. They need some level of mental capacity to be able to bounce back in the second period. So what now happened was Philadelphia, Gal Gronson answered just 39 seconds later to tie it as 1-1. So if you look at it, Montreal, Alexander Texier opened the scoring quickly, trying to see, late in the period, if we're able to score, all we can do is, preserve that goal till the second period. But Philadelphia did not agree. They just came with Carl Grunstone, answering 39 seconds after, and they tied it 1-1 just before they went into second period. So Montreal couldn't achieve that going up late in the first period. And in the second period, we also had Trevor Zegras, who scored early as well, trying to get things going very, very fast. But Konensi and Andre also said they wanted to be part of the assist, and they supported him and gave him, what he needed. Bobby Brink extended the lead very late, for the Flyers, and it went up 3-1. After this time, it went up 3-1. Montreal started playing like they were under pressure. They were making some few mistakes that I didn't really feel comfortable with. And, they ended the period 3-1. And it was looking like, okay, they just had the third period to try and salvage things. They took some risk in the third period. So we had Travis Konechny, he sealed the win with an empty net goal. Those risks that they were taking in the third period made them have that exposure, and an empty net goal now came in and made it 4-1. So the assist also came from Dvorak and Couturier. Now, looking at the key takeaways for the Flyers, a team that has won 17 games is no scrub. The Philadelphia Flyers team, they know what they are talking about. They are not playing at all. Not even playing at all. They showed resilience, because even after they conceded the first goal, you understand, they went ahead and scored 4 other goals, and they still kept their defense very, very tight. So for me, they showed wonderful resilience, even though Montreal put them under pressure towards the third period. But they steadily built momentum and finally sealed it with that fourth goal into an empty net. So key players that I've been watching out for, for the Philadelphia Flyers, the Trevor Zegras, he scored the go-ahead goal, which was very, very good. I see him more as a creative playmaker, but scoring goals now has now added a bit of style to his way of play. He used to be more of just a playmaker, so he had more assists, looking at most of his previous games. But this one, he came in and made the goal happen. Bobby Brink also scored. That strong offense was also what they needed, especially the fact that they were the one that first conceded. So his presence really helped them, by rookie Michkov as well. The assist was coming from him, and the rookie is also meeting up to expectation, and I like what I'm seeing from him. Travis Konechny had 2 points, he had a goal and 1 assist. So in this match, I can say that he was more of the guy that was driving the offense, and he helped the team to be in a better position across board. So on the Montreal side, there were some good guys too that tried well. Alexander, Texier scored the only goal, but he finished in -1 because looking at the fact that they couldn't sustain that offense, he finished in -1 in the plus-minus rating. Jake Evans and Josh Anderson assisted on Trexier's goal as well, so it also counts for them as assists. Even though they had limited impact across the game and they ended up losing, but they helped. Suzuki too has slowed down a bit. I liked how Nick Suzuki was playing earlier in the season. He has struggled. He had about 33.3%. He couldn't really generate as much offense as I expected. He's still a very good player. He's still one of their best players on the Montreal team. Now, the thing is, Montreal team, even after this match, still have 17 wins. Similar to what the Edmonton... the Edmonton Oilers had 16 until they won against the Penguins as well. So they had 16 wins before they played against the Penguins. So they are all on 17 right now. But if you look at it very well, Jacob Fowler also had a good game. He had 17 saves on 20 shots, but wasn't good enough. And that gave him a 0.850 SV percentage. And he was beaten cleanly a lot of times. Clean goals were coming in. And sometimes your goaltender may not just have a good day. You understand? But this, he just allowed 3 shots to go in. And, and these were key chances coming from the Philadelphia Flyers. But, hopefully they're able to bounce back and before the Christmas with a couple of games that are coming on. There were quick responses coming, from the way the Montreal Canadiens tried to push back on that zone offense that was coming in from the Philadelphia Flyers, but it was not enough. And that's they couldn't capitalize after that early lead. The offense kind of stalled, only with 22 shots, which was true. They didn't really generate enough shots as the Montreal Canadiens normally do. So that was what kind of affected them. But I look at the big picture, and, looking at all the analysis, I just came up with a big picture. For a team like the Philadelphia Flyers, they demonstrated that depth in the off-season, in the postseason, they will need a bit more of this, and their elite goaltending was also good. their their goaltender is is playing at a very high level. For the Montreal team, they need more consistent offensive production. Because if you look at Texia and Caulfield, they are the only guys that carry that pressure. You understand? So if they had strong goaltending as well to compete against a structured team like Philly, they will definitely struggle. Other teams are very put together. So it means that if they play the way they played now, they will probably not get too many wins. So they need to improve on some of these approaches, you know, for their games. The next one is the New York Islanders. They're also coming up versus the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit Red Wings is another very good team. They are playing so well. I watched another match that they are presently playing right now, and they are playing so well. Those guys are completely dominating the narratives. New York Islanders are also a good team. Both of these teams came into this match with 19 wins. Compared to other teams I'm talking about that have 16 and 17, they have 19 wins. The Red Wings have won 10 at home and they've lost 7. So it means that they are playing very well at home. Away too, they've also tried their best because they've won more games away than they've lost. They've won 9 games away and they've lost 7, which is also good. So it means that home and away, they've won more games than they have lost. And that's why they have 19 so far. The Red Wings have 19 wins and 15 losses. So it means that they are getting it together. I like the way their coach really set up the team. Very good offense. The Islanders led through 2 periods in this match. But the Detroit team, they were able to storm back. They kept fighting. They kept coming up with innovative moves. Driving the zone was very good for them. And they came with 3 unanswered goals in the third to secure their comeback win. However, if you look at the first period, I just want to dive into the first period where there was a lot of drama. Anthony Duclair opened the scoring and he got assist from Drouin. If you look at how he went for that first goal, he went with some form of dominance. Wanted to show that we are here, we have 19 wins, and we can challenge for whatever is ahead of us. The second period, they went in with a serious battle, no goals at all. And it was looking like the Islanders were going to be able to protect that win. Because at the end of the second period, I almost gave up. I didn't want to watch the match again. I was like, man, these guys have won everything that you can think of. But however, what now happened was third period, the Islanders, they didn't look like the team that started well in the first period. They didn't look like, even though they were also able to put in a second goal. Anders Lee scored it to make it 2-0, and we thought that was just it and they had buried it. But the Detroit team were able to look for that energy. Alex, the Brinkat, he responded with a goal. After then I saw that, man, they were trying to rally, come back again. Dylan Laxon tied the game. It was assisted by Raymond and Seda, just pushing. They were pushing, putting a lot of efforts. Then James now came with the final goal. James Van Riemsdyk. He scored the game winner, and the assist was coming from Kopp and Sandlin Pelika. And at the time the Detroit scored this third goal, it was fire everywhere, a lot of noise, like, man, what's happening? This is a team that is playing on the road and they're able to dominate like this in the third period, Their top line guys were very fantastic. The Brinkats, Larkin, Raymond, the veteran depth was outstanding. They flipped the game in the final frame for me, and that's the way I look at it. I'm not taking anything away from the New York Islanders. They played so well. Anthony Duclair, who scored the opener, was actively offensive in the whole game. Anders Lee played well. He added that insurance for them, that insurance goal. But we thought after that insurance goal, it was going to end. But the Detroit team kept fighting, and they were able to find a way to come back. Matthew Barzal also, he gave some good playmaking and an assist. He also tried. He had about 53.3% on FOs. And, I like the way he was generating offense for them as well. On the Detroit Red Wings, we also had some good guys. Alex DeBrincat, just like I said, the goal scorer, he sparked that comeback and he energized the whole team, to come back. Dylan Larkin, that's the captain's goal, we call him the key captain. So he came in and tied the game, and that leadership impact now, decided to push the team. Lucas Raymond had 2 assists, and that was where the creative playmaking came. He kind of plays a little bit like Drestill. I see a bit of Drestill in his style of playing. James Van Ramsdijk also with the veteran presence, netted the decisive goal. And the goalkeeper also tried. He had 16 saves of 18 and an SV percentage of 0.889. I think for me, the Detroit team is going to really go far this season because I like the way they are playing so well with those bright red jerseys. They are making the city of Detroit very, very proud. So from my tactical analysis, the New York team are not a scrub. They control the game very early, but I didn't see that killer instinct. There's one killer instinct I used to talk about, the Michael Jordan kind of killer instinct. I didn't see it, and he couldn't let them, extend the lead beyond where they were. There were some defensive lapses as well from the New York team, which made them allow the third goal to come in. So Detroit Stars were also putting pressure on them. So they were exploiting some of the spaces. And you don't keep Detroit, in a winning position by creating those spaces. You have to make them pay. That's just it. So that was just how the tactical analysis went. The Detroit Red Wings, shout out to them for the good win. They demonstrated resilience, the Red Wings, because, a second goal coming in the third period, and you are wondering, how are you going to come up with 3 goals against a very good team? And they both were coming in with the same narratives. So I like the depth and leadership in this team and the ability to rally very, very, very late in the team. So I'll be stopping here now. This is Taiwo Onajobi, your analyst, unapologetic fan of the game, and also your commentator. I would like to say have a wonderful day ahead, and thank you for staying till the end for our hockey updates. God bless you.